All right, I'm going to call this meeting of the Rancho Cordova City Council back into order. Madam Clerk, if you'd call the roll again, please.
Councilmember Gatewood.
Here.
Councilmember Budge.
Here.
Councilmember Terry. Here. Vice Mayor Pulapati.
Here.
Mayor Sander.
Here. And if you would make the cable TV television announcement, please.
The meeting of the Rancho Cordova City Council will be cablecast on Metro Cable 14, the local government affairs channel, on the Comcast and AT&T Uverse cable systems. The meeting is closed captioned and webcast at metro14live.saccounty.gov. Today's meeting will replay on Wednesday, July 13th at 9 a.m. and Thursday, July 4th at 6 p.m. on Channel 14. The meeting is also viewed at youtube.com/Metro Cable 14. A DVD copy can also be ordered from the City Clerk's Department, and a webcast of this meeting will be available on the city's website within 48 hours of adjournment of this meeting.
All right, very good. We are going to have the Pledge of Allegiance. I'm going to ask Siri to lead us in the pledge, and then we will have a moment of silence in lieu of an invocation. Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Join me in a moment of silence, please. All right, thank you. Okay, we are moving on with presentations. And first up is Leadership Rancho Cordova with a check presentation to the Cordova Food Locker.
Got my whole gang with me.
Welcome, Carrie.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council members and city staff. I'm Carrie Johnson, Executive Director at the Rancho Cordova Food Locker, but tonight I'm wearing two hats as a member of the Class of 17 for the Chamber's leadership class. And I'm very honored to be here to represent the best class ever. I want to share with you that we believe that this program is invaluable to the Chamber and to our city. We kicked off the program in October with a retreat in Grass Valley with a robust leadership training. At the heart of our retreat was the introduction of the collaboratory concept, a place to test and refine better ways to collaborate, communicate, and lead for this great city. The quality and the depth of this training was very impressive. Our leader quickly brought together a very diverse group of individuals, and diverse we are, from police officers, fire chiefs, controllers, engineers, artists, city staff, financial planners, librarians, nonprofit and business leaders, educators, entrepreneurs, and of course, what we called the fun job folks in recreation and tourism. And we range in age from the 30s to our 60s. This program is a testament to the power of a group of really caring individuals focused on a unified goal. Throughout this program, we immersed ourselves in the rich tapestry of our city. As someone who's called Rancho Cordova home for 40 years, I thought I knew my community well. However, this program revealed so much more. During the winter months, we delved into the history of our city and explored the intricacies of local government, discovering the foundational elements that make our community strong. In the spring, we walked the scenic paths of Lake Natoma and Hagen Park, learning about recreation and tourism. Who knew we had a tourism department or an agency? I didn't. Well, Class 17 also set a remarkable precedent. We're the first class to choose our class project by the very first module in October, and we executed the project fully before May. Apparently, this is unheard of. This achievement speaks volumes about the class's dedication and our unity. Back in October, as we deliberated on our class project, the decision to host a golf tournament benefiting the Rancho Cordova Food Locker really moved me. Class 17's generosity and commitment truly touched my heart deeply. Many members of the class had never played golf, attended a golf tournament, let alone organized one, yet they rose to the challenge. They pooled their diverse talents, learned new skills, and worked tirelessly to make the event a huge success. I have attended hundreds of fundraising tournaments. Most are run by a few overworked committee members. This was by far the most collaborative, well-run tournament ever. We received so many positive comments from players and sponsors, and I'm very proud to say that the class of 17 raised $36,000 for the Rancho Cordova Food Locker, netting an amazing check for $20,000.
Nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's awesome. Should we do a big photo?
Yes, could we
Yeah,
please?
let's do a big photo. I'm gonna assemble somewhere in the middle so we can get the logo. Come on, you.
You go ahead or get in there. Yeah, I'll take one. I'm not gonna.
An army of cameras has arrived.
Okay, 1, 2, 3.
Wait, who am I looking?
She's me. All right, next.
Now, Dawn. Dawn, I'm not gonna do it together.
Congratulations.
That is so great to see a bunch of leaders in our community come together to achieve something for our community. That is a very special thing. All right, I think we have some new employees to introduce. Item 9.2.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is April Stevenson, and I work in the Neighborhood Services Division with Animal Services. And I have the pleasure to introduce you Cassidy Shoup. We did acquire her with a lot of experience. I've already had the pleasure of working with her in the field, and I've seen the great impact she's made with the residents to reduce stress when we're investigating cases. And I'm going to let her tell you a little bit about herself. Other than that, she did start on June 2nd, so she's been here for a month now, and she's making us really happy.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Cassidy Shoup. I have, like April said, started with the city recently in the Animal Control Division. I originally came from the city of Sacramento, and I have about 6 years of experience in animal care. About 4 years of that was working in a shelter environment, and then the last 2 was field services. So I'm really excited to be a part of the community and help out with it.
That's great. Welcome.
Thank you.
The new employees singing will start in just a few minutes here.
Good evening, Mayor Sander, members of the council, Darcy Gillard with the Planning Department, and I am excited tonight to introduce you to Lindsay Morrow, who is our new Senior Environmental Planner. She comes to us with over 20 years of experience in the environmental world, and I'm going to let her introduce herself.
Hi, good evening, Mayor Sander and City Council. I have had a really great first week last week. I met a lot of people, and every single one of them gave me a really warm welcome, so I'm very happy to be here. Like Darcy said, I come to the city with about 20 years of experience in environmental consulting. I was a project manager for CEQA NEPA projects, mostly local government and transportation projects for most of that time. And so I'm excited to bring that experience to the city and be a part of the planning department and also help some of the other departments with their CEQA needs as well, and help Darcy take over some work on the HCP. So I'm very happy to be here. Thank you.
Very good. Welcome.
Are you ready for your TikTok dance? No. Why are you taking away the fun of everything?
We've gotten very soft on how we used to do things, yeah. Right. All right, let's see. Next up, speaking of singing, next up, we have a birthday to celebrate. Actually, we kind of have 2 birthdays to celebrate, but we have a council member birthday to celebrate. And Siri, in how many days? 5 days? Another year. All right, very good. So, traditional, happy birthday.
All right.
Are we ready?
I'm ready.
Audience, are you ready?
Ready.
All right.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Satosh Pupati. Ow! Happy birthday to you.
Thank you, thank you. I think this is the best part of being a council member, that I have so many people sing to me after probably my 3rd birthday, so thank you so much.
All right, and item 9.4, we have a city birthday, which has occurred today. Rancho Cordova is officially 21. 21 as of today. We can do it legally now, right? In the Barrel District, that's right. No, I woke up this morning and I realized, oh, wait a second, we're having a meeting on a birthday. So I texted original council members with a photo, which I'm not going to share with the public, of what we looked like back then. And
You did share.
and Linda and I look exactly the same, except I had brown hair. And I was a little thinner, probably a little taller. But other than that, it is a remarkable thing to think.
Well, David, I'm so pleased that I gave you 1.5 inches.
It is a remarkable thing to think how far we've come in 21 years. The challenges we had as a city, which were legion at the time, enormous challenges, and the efforts we've undertaken over 20 years to not make any of those things a current crisis for our jurisdiction. We had crime issues. We had a lack of economic development. We had neighborhoods in crisis. There was a lot of lack of I would almost say despair in some neighborhoods, like things are getting bad and they're not going to get better. And it took a long time and a lot of strategies and a lot of efforts to turn that around. But we're here now, I think far, far, far better for having incorporated. And it's just very, very rewarding, I think, to look back on 21 years and say, we have really accomplished something for the residents who voted that November 2022 to make a difference in their own community. So kudos to the residents for all of their support and their partnership over all these many years. You've seen some of our partners here in the room tonight. There are thousands of them out there in the community who are dedicated to the future of this place. And thank you to my colleagues here for your service to this city and doing everything we can to improve it. And to our city staff, some of whom were actually present at that very first meeting. I noticed I was flipping through some old photos today, trying to find some embarrassing one for, Linda or somebody. And what did I see but a very young and boyish looking Adam in the photo, which I do remember you there. I just didn't expect to see you in a photo for some reason. It was like, oh, look at that. So I didn't bring that one either, Adam. I figured if I'm not going to embarrass myself, I'm not going to show what you look like 21 years ago either. But it is really a cool thing to look back on. And hopefully, in another 4 years, we've got a 25th anniversary to celebrate. At that point, we can rent a car, and after that, it's all downhill, right? Mm-hmm. After 25? Not for the city, though. It won't be. Anybody else want to add anything to that?
Couldn't possibly.
Perfect. Birthday.
All right.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. I guess we don't have to sing happy birthday
No, we
again. That would
already
be
did that.
redundant.
No, there are some treats and things out in the
There
lobby
are.
to share for celebrating both birthdays,
And
I think, that we have here
I think
today.
people were already celebrating out there, so whether they realized what
should.
it was for or not. Okay, very good.
For those of you who don't come to all of our meetings, we don't always have cookies and snacks and things in the lobby. So don't be disappointed if you don't visit us on our birthdays.
All right, we are going to go into item number 10, public comment. Members of the public wishing to address the council for any matter not on the agenda may do so at this time by completing and submitting a speaker card to the city clerk. For items on the agenda, speakers will be called up by me at that point on the agenda when the item will be heard. Speakers are encouraged to keep comments to 3 minutes or less and to state their name and community of residence. Under the provisions of the California Government Code, the City Council is prohibited from discussing or taking immediate action on any item not on the agenda unless it can be demonstrated to be of an emergency nature or the need to take immediate action arose after the posting of the agenda. So, Madam Clerk, do we have public comment cards?
Yes, we'll start with Sarah Alzanoon. Following Sarah will be Shukri Suhir, Warda Abdul Rahim, And then Wafa Suhir. You'll have up to 3 minutes.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Mayor and City Council members, and happy birthday to you, Vice Mayor. My name is Sarah Alzanoon. I am a resident of Antelope, but I work here on Trade Center Drive, so I'm here more than home for sure. I'm proudly serving the state of California. I work just around the corner. Before that, I worked at a franchise tax board. I stand before you today as a member of this diverse community to bring attention to a matter of profound humanitarian concern. The situation in Gaza is one of immense suffering marked by continuous conflict, severe humanitarian crisis, and relentless struggle for peace and dignity. Having lived in Jerusalem and Bethlehem myself, I can easily see the balance of power. There are different judicial and military laws for Israelis and Palestinians. The color of your license plate dictates the roads you can drive on. And I know this because I used to go through these checkpoints and these roads every day. As I stated twice before all of you, I've lost several members in the last 6 months. And by several, I mean 56. It would take nearly 2 minutes of my time to name all of my family members that have been killed, most of them being under the age 30. Our city, Rancho Cordova, has a proud history of standing in solidarity with communities facing adversity around the world. We have recognized and supported the struggles of our Armenian and Ukrainian brothers and sisters and many other communities. In 2021, the city of Rancho Cordova passed the Artsakh Proclamation in support of Armenian and Ukrainian immigrants. Today, I ask that we extend the same compassion and support to the people of Gaza. The ongoing conflict in Gaza has led to significant loss of life, the destruction of homes and infrastructure, and the displacement of countless families. The population of Rancho Cordova is 81,000, and the estimated death toll in Gaza is 80,000. The blockade and military operations have caused severe shortages of essential goods, medical supplies, and basic services. My family in Gaza and the people of Palestine deserve to live in peace with their rights and dignity respected, free from violence and oppression. Our tax dollars, my own tax dollars attributed to the murder of almost my entire bloodline in Gaza. By putting this matter on the agenda, we can take a meaningful step in showing our solidarity with innocent civilians who were killed in the crossfire. We can join cities across the nation, including Sacramento, that we are calling for an immediate cessation of hostilities, lasting peace, and protection of human rights. Our proclamation will not only express our heartfelt support, but also encourage our residents to learn more about the situation and support efforts that promote peace and humanitarian assistance. As a city that values human rights, justice, and peace, it's our moral obligation to speak out against injustices faced by people in Gaza. What affects one community affects us all. I respectfully urge the City Council to put this matter on the agenda to reaffirm our commitment to human rights and global solidarity. Thank you so much for your time and consideration.
Shukri.
Good evening. My name is Shukri Suhir. I am a resident of Rancho Cordova, specifically Stone Creek, and was born and raised here, and I'm proud to call this city my home. I attended the last City Council meeting and will continue to attend and speak on an issue that should be at the forefront of all our minds as we prepare to celebrate the 4th of July. And that is the ceasefire in Gaza resolution we are urging you all to act on. More than hot dogs, fireworks, and pool parties, the 4th of July is a reminder of the values and ideals that lay at the foundation of our country. Chief among these ideals are the unalienable rights of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. It should be noted that from the beginning, the Founding Fathers didn't claim American exclusivity to these rights, but allotted them to all men, all people who are created equal by God and should thus be treated justly and fairly. Our country's response to the genocide of Palestinians in Gaza is antithetical to the values that lay at the foundation of our country. The lives of Gazans have been viciously and ruthlessly stolen via American-made bombs paid for by our tax dollars. Simple freedoms and human rights are being infringed left and right. The rights to shelter, medicine, food, and clean water, all non-existent. Aid workers and doctors are being systematically targeted and murdered by an apartheid regime hell-bent on depriving Gazans of their God-given human rights. And in all likelihood, when the 4th of July rolls around and we look up to the sky, smiling at the beautiful colors of fireworks, a Gazan child will look up to the night sky to see bombs paid for by American tax dollars, manufactured by American companies, and ignored by American leaders. I am asking, I am pleading, I am begging you all to not ignore this. When we reflect on history, we would all like to think that would be on the side of Martin Luther King Jr., the side of Mahatma Gandhi, the side of Nelson Mandela, the side of all activists and oppressed people who work against their oppressors. In the future, students of history will look back on this period of time. We'll see the fathers carrying blown up bits of their children in plastic bags, mothers who have lost their babies to starvation, the doctors who have had to amputate their own children's limbs without anesthesia. And they will ask, how could this have happened? Were there no moral, decent people to speak out against this oppression? I pray to God that I can be counted among the people who speak up for peace in Gaza. And I pray that you all will speak up and count yourselves and our city as people who speak up for the oppressed, who speak up against injustice, and who speak up in support of ceasefire and peace. Thank you for your kind attention.
The next speaker is Warda.
Greetings of peace. My name is Warda Abdurrahim. I have been a proud resident of Rancho Cordova since 2008. As a mother of 2 children, I mourn with the mothers of Palestine as the brutal attacks in Gaza continue to cause the death of 1 precious child every 10 minutes. Over 2,000 children have been killed in Gaza since October. 70% of those killed by Israel's onslaught on Gaza are women and children. 2 mothers are killed every hour. Over 20,000 children in Gaza are now orphans. On average, 10 children per day undergo an amputation due to injuries from Israel's bombings. They do not have access to pain medication, antibiotics, proper wound care, physical therapy, and medical care required after amputation. Children and pregnant and nursing mothers are starving and lacking clean water and essential supplies. Birthing mothers have very limited access to prenatal, labor and delivery, and postnatal care. Since the initial attacks, the miscarriage rate in Gaza has risen 300%. People are giving birth in overcrowded, unhygienic shelters or tents, often with only the help of family due to limited access to trained medical personnel. There is very limited clean water, and refugee bathrooms are often shared by hundreds of people. On average, 180 mothers give birth per day in Gaza right now. Over 2,000 babies have been born under these conditions, and now they and their parents face starvation, dehydration, and rampant disease from overcrowded, unsanitary living conditions. All of this is in addition to the indiscriminate bombing that is happening every day throughout Gaza. These conditions affect mothers' ability to produce breast milk. Formula is very scarce and expensive, and clean water to prepare formula is severely limited. Mothers from all around the world are joining together in solidarity against genocide, in support of Palestinian parents and their children. The time is now to join this community, to be visible and vocal against the ongoing atrocities being committed against the Palestinian people by Israel and its allies. As we have seen throughout history, when good people stay silent, horrible acts continue to unfold. Therefore, I implore you, all of the elected officials of Rancho Cordova, to act on and pass the resolution for ceasefire in Gaza.
Please wrap up your comments.
All children are our children. No one is free until we are all free. Thank you.
Next speaker is Wafa. Following Wafa will be Rashid, Dean, Jessa, Rago, Mohammed, and Diane Rogers.
Good evening, City Council members. My name is Wafa, and while you all may recognize me, I would like to bring up my perspective simply as a Rancho Cordova resident. As a student, I have always dedicated my time to extracurricular activities and community service to contribute to the magnificent, diverse fabric of the city. I've even had the honor to be a recipient of the Rancho Cordova Pride Scholarship, an award dedicated to 2 individuals who embody the values of Rancho Cordova. Even with this award, the heart of Rancho Cordova's support for youth and students, I've never been more disappointed in the city of Rancho Cordova. I'm sure we've all heard about the atrocities happening in Gaza these past months, the various human rights violations, even the hate crimes happening in our own country. Over 15,000 have been killed in a month, and over 40% of those being children, according to UNICEF. I can't help but wonder if we understand what this means. As an elementary schooler here, the biggest injury you're expected to endure is a skinned knee, a bruised shoulder. The kids in Gaza, however, expect a lot worse than that. They expect airstrikes and familial death. They expect collapsing buildings and starvation, amputation without anesthesia, pain and misery, and they expect death. Can you imagine what this must feel like? A child being subjected to these horrors every single day, being forced to endure the war crimes committed without the guarantee of a better future. Can you imagine what their parents must be feeling? Many of you here have children of your own, nieces and nephews, cousins and siblings. Can you imagine the pain they must feel as they write the name of their loved ones onto their limbs so they may be identified in death? And we are still silent. Knowing that this is the reality for tens of thousands of people, we are still silent. How can we refuse to condemn the hand that drops these bombs on innocent civilians? Refuse to even say a word in solidarity for the thousands, if not millions, of refugees fleeing for a crime that they did not commit? We argue that we are thousands of miles away, that we can't make real change. But if you refuse to acknowledge the suffering of those in another country, at least acknowledge the suffering of those in our own. Even here in America, we are still seeing hate and misinformation leading to hate and attacks on innocent civilians. A 6-year-old in Illinois, 3 university students shot in Vermont. Racism doesn't listen to borders, it's present here too. It doesn't compare to the atrocities in Gaza, but this is a problem we can do something about. We can use our words, condemn the hate crimes happening as a result of the war, fight misinformation and the spread of Islamophobia and racist propaganda in our own country and city. Call for an immediate ceasefire. We can, if nothing else, use our voices to support the people who need it most. Thank you for your time.
Rashid?
Honorable council members, good to see you guys again. I was worried this last couple of weeks. I feared that I was getting desensitized to the images, and when it came across my feed, I would swipe so that I didn't have to see it. And then I realized that while I have the luxury of being able to look away, the people that are suffering don't have the luxury of swiping and not looking at it. What hit me hardest was there was a father, an image of a father in the emergency room, and he's telling the people, where is his head? Where is his head? He's talking about his child. Where is his head? I can't find his head. I have an 8-year-old, I have a 3-year-old. And that hit me that he doesn't have the option of, looking away. And I know I've talked to Council Member Budge when we had a racist incident, I think 2022 or 23, when she was the mayor. She came and spoke to our congregation, about 200 people, and talked about the history of the city and her history and your history about diversity and standing up for what's right. And as I was sitting here today, I was trying to figure out what am I going to say, and I came across a quote from Attorney Adam. On his page, it says, a quote from John Wesley, so I'll read it to you. Do all the good you can, by all the means you can, in all the ways you can, in all the places you can, at all the times you can, to all the people you can, as long as you ever can. And I will leave it at that. That doesn't distinguish between race, religion, color, location. If you have been given the privilege of representing people and standing up for people, this is the moment when those that come after us will look back and ask, when this was going on, where were you and what did you do? I hope we can all stand up and say, I did what I could in the power that I had. Thank you.
Jessa?
Good evening, Mayor and council members. My name is Jessa Rigo. I live in Folsom and I work here in Rancho Cordova. 2 meetings ago, I spoke about the imperial history of this issue. I wondered whether members of the City Council had ever heard of the Sykes-Picot Agreement and the Nakba. The Sykes-Picot Agreement was a secret negotiation in 1916 between the French and the British about how they would divide the Middle East to take control of it after World War I. The following year, the Balfour Declaration was a public statement by the British that they were going to send Jewish people to the Middle East. Their own documentation called it a colonial project and shows that they knew that they were going to have to violently displace the population that was already in Palestine. The settler massacres began in 1946, and the Nakba was in 1948. Nakba is Arabic for disaster. Over 750,000 Palestinians were expelled. Families who had been tending to the same land for over 6 generations were murdered or fled at gunpoint or threat of other unspeakable atrocities. One of my Gazan friends told me of the Nakba. My grandmother heard that refugees were coming, so she began knitting them hats and blankets, and then they came and burnt down her house. This is not a 1,000-year-old religious conflict or anyone's ancient desires. It is a 76 to 100-year-old modern political disaster. Ethnic cleansing, genocide, and land grab for real estate and extraction of resources. I am so sick of all the lies. They're in a tough neighborhood. Well, yeah, if you move into a neighborhood and start murdering people and committing other unspeakable atrocities, then you are probably going to have a security problem. I am so sick of hearing that from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free is genocidal. It's not. A community member came up and told me that at the end of a previous meeting. What it means is freedom of travel and commerce, equal rights for all people in the land, the return of stolen property to the degree to which it still exists, and acknowledgement and reparations for the property, lives, and dignity that cannot be returned. If we say freedom and someone else hears murder, that's coming from inside themselves and not from us. The City Council not speaking out about this is allowing these lies to keep spreading, which is dividing and endangering our community. I saw the city's proclamations about Ukraine and the Artsakh region of Armenia, so please don't tell us that the City Council doesn't work on international issues. Thank you very much.
Next speaker is Mohammed. Mohammed MDM. Last name is Haque. Okay, no, don't want to speak? Okay. Diane Rogers.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor and members of the council. I'm Diane Rogers and have the privilege of serving as the president and CEO of the Rancho Cordova Area Chamber of Commerce. And I just want to come before you and express my gratitude and appreciation. On the 20th of June, we held our 13th annual Business Expo. And once again, the team here at City Hall, the facilities team, did an outstanding job in supporting this effort. So I just think it's very important for me to be able to express the appreciation we have for the work they did, the time that they spent, and effort that they put out on our behalf. We had 65 booths. We had over 40 of those we're hiring, and we figure we had about 400 folks go through. So we couldn't do it without their support, and we appreciate it. Just wanted you to know that.
And the next speaker is Amoria Perez.
Good evening. My name is Amaria Perez, and I live in Rancho Cordova. And today I'll be reading an abridged version of a piece by Elena Duran in honor of all those who have been murdered in occupied Palestine. I saw a dead baby from Gaza today while I was sitting on the toilet. When a colleague sees me later and asks me how I am, I'll tell her I'm fine and I'll smile. But I saw a dead baby. 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 I'll have to say it out loud for fear that if I don't, he'll be buried inside me forever. What? She'll ask. A baby, I'll say, a dead one. I saw him while I was peeing. He was so tiny. And he had 10 tiny fingers and 10 tiny toes, but no eyes and no nose, no face at all really, because where his little mouth and eyes and nose should have been, there was only blood. Oh my God, she'll say. That's why I can't look at the news. It's just too disturbing. But me, I can't look away. And now they want me to go back to work and pay my taxes so that more and more blood will be on my hands. And don't worry, it'll be on all of yours too. How is it that we're checking the news and shaking our heads saying, what a shame, and continuing on with our silly, meaningless days while the world is ending for someone just like us? I saw a dead baby today, and it is the least I could do not to look away, to bear witness to unspeakable pain. I will never know his name, but I will mourn him all the same.
Mayor Sander, that's all the public comment that we have.
All right, thank you, Madam Clerk. Very good. We're going to go on to council member reports. And first up will be Mr. Gaywood.
All right, so we had the Juneteenth event at FCCP. So thank you for that. Our Folsom Cordova nonprofit group for actually throwing something for the Juneteenth holiday. I know we took it off, but it's important that we go and we realize that. Thank you for Diane Rogers for the Small Business Chamber Expo. I walked by, it was not 1 billion degrees, but it felt like it should have been. I went and saw a ton of graduations with Siri. So we are so overpacked when it comes to schools that we have 4 graduations per grade school now. 4. So the only thing that caught my throat is that I am the soccer coach for probably 2/3 of the kids that were graduating. And so it's funny to see them that this is their last year at in the kind of rancho area before they get banished to Elk Grove. And it was cute to give them all hugs and wish them goodbye because I basically raised them up and they all went to school with Jacob. And so I know you guys have that same feeling when the kids came through and then left. And so it was nice to actually, see them go. And that's it for me. Thank you.
Linda.
So at Community Council this month, or last month rather, Art Pimentel, who is the new president of Folsom Lake College, came to speak and talked about all the exciting things that are going on at Folsom Lake College. And I went from there to an air show event, which was called the Sacramento Ace Academy. It was their graduation. And the kids who signed up for the academy, or who actually were selected to go to the academy, spent the entire week learning having hands-on experiences in all sorts of different aviation fields. It was really quite inspirational for them. Everything from a trip down to Travis to something up at William Jessup College. And part of the reason I went was because their keynote speaker was this incredible woman, Colonel Meryl Tingestal, who is the only Black woman and one of the very few handful of women, period, who's ever flown the U-2. And she came from the Bronx, and I met her last year when Darcy did the event, the STEM event for girls, but I had never heard her speak, and she was incredible. She got up and she started talking about Star Trek, and she had me. And, and it went from there. We did a very interesting workshop for our Community Enhancement and Investment Fund and gave staff a lot of things to consider. And I want to ask that we adjourn tonight's meeting in honor of a gentleman named Kirk Tabor. When we met Kirk, he was on the Rancho Cordova Chamber Board, and he actually was hired by a past president to do the logo at that point in time for the Rancho Cordova Chamber of Commerce, which from my perspective, sorry Diane, remains the best logo we've ever had. And Kirk's office did this. Up until that point, the chamber had only had a Pony Express rider for its logo. And Kurt was the CEO, and I asked Kurt what happened to the horse, and he said it's under the train. So, okay, I had to accept that one. But he has passed away. He actually made a presentation to us for our original city logo, and he was not selected. We selected Rick Sloan because Rick's images really were more, they incorporated more of what we thought went into Rancho Cordova, went into expressing the image of Rancho Cordova. But Kirk was much too young. He was only born in '68, and the design community is very much at loss for his passing.
Thank you, Linda. Donald.
I'll keep it brief. I did pinch hit for our illustrious mayor at SACOG, and we got through a handful of things before I had to go because I only had so much time, and it was all the way in Yuba City, and some other things to do that day.
That was a very special one I had to hand off to you.
Yeah, that was interesting, yeah. Because I think I agreed and said, so long as it's somewhere near Sacramento, and then Andrew put on my calendar and it was Yuba City. But I got there. We spent a lot of time talking about the blueprint land use assumptions and statement of commitments. And you would have thought that the statement of commitment was an ironclad, have to do, all encompassing, no other city can make any decision on their own ever again if they vote on this thing. And they talked about it like it was that. I think we adopted it with the commitment of coming back before the end of the year with new language or new considerations after, a county supervisor that represents Rancho Cordova as well, I guess at his first board meeting in years, decided to upend the apple cart on that sucker. So I guess there'll be more to talk about when they bring it back, but something that it sounds like they've been working on for a couple years.
Yeah.
They finally got it to the finish line, and two of them decided to, well, I'd like it to say this instead. So interesting conversations. The only other thing, and I know we will say our thank yous in 2 weeks about it, but I just want to say thank you to everybody that's going to be working on the 4th of July, including our police force and everybody else that are going to be out in all hands on deck over the next few days this week. And then also the city at the airport is already starting to get built for the air show that's coming up in less than, 12, 13 days now. So I heard some smoke oil was delivered today for one of the teams and stuff. So interesting stuff going along, but there's a lot of exciting things going on in Rancho Cordova. And I think even the rodeos this week, next week, very soon. So, yeah, there's a whole bunch of things
Department has
going
a
on
rodeo on Saturday.
on the Highway 50 corridor. So if you're in town and you're looking for fun, there's a lot of great stuff to do. So thanks to all the volunteers and everybody else that are going to help make those things possible.
Yeah, July 4th construction in Hagan Park's been going on all weekend, and undoubtedly today. Vice Mayor Pulapati.
So I attended Yoga Day in the park to celebrate the 10th International Yoga Day. The reason we do yoga is to be stress-free and calm. It was a hot day, and I went with my mother-in-law. I think she was more stressed out for the people teaching yoga because they were in the hot sun. So I didn't think it served a purpose by taking her there for Yoga Day, but it was a really good event. I think more than 300 people turned up for that event. I attended the Cable Commission meeting downtown. We went over the budget for the Cable Commission. The City of Rancho Cordova receives a franchise fee revenue distribution at the end of each fiscal year, and I think we received about $300K this year. And another thing from that meeting was we approved the Sac Metro Cable Commission grant program, which was about $200K. And this was a grant program to support the local community engagement, creative expression, cultural expressions. So the maximum grant that they could receive for this was, for each individual for this program, was about $50K. So if anybody's interested in doing more for the community from the Cable Commission, please look up this grant program. Along with Councilmember Gatewood, I did attend the middle school graduations. Again, it was my first time to be at a middle school with the OG. So at McGarvey Elementary with Mr. McGarvey himself. So it was a unique experience for me in that regard. But it was really wonderful to see these sixth graders coming out with their true personalities. There were kids in purple suits with girls in pastel gowns. And
That purple suit was fire. And they did a rap. And they did a rap compilation.
Yeah.
Don't forget that.
Right. Like they had their personalities all front on, so you could see there were shy kids, there were kids that were bold, and this is just sixth graders, and I cannot think of myself, being in elementary school, already having a personality and being that vocal about what I want and what I didn't want. We were tearing up. I didn't have kids that were graduating there, but the kids that were there, they were there from when the school was built. I think from McGarvey, I think that was the first batch that graduated. So
First class of McGarvey graduated, and Bob hurt himself. You guys should call him and check on him.
Yes. Continuing with my meeting update here, it was really interesting to see them over there with that graduation piece of it. So with Mr. McGarvey, yes, he did attend in spite of his health issue, but he was active and he was strong, just like all the kids there that were going out there to conquer the world. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you, Siri. I missed our last meeting because of a sudden outbreak of COVID, which my wife, the physician, I think, brought home from her office, near as we can tell. Didn't have much effect on me. I, took the drug, and within 24 hours was pretty much feeling fine. But I wasn't able to attend our last meeting, so I wasn't able to thank all of you guys for your support for hosting the National League of Cities summer meeting here. They had an extraordinarily good time, and it wasn't due to me. It was due to all of our efforts. The whole team at City Hall did just an outstanding job in setting this meeting, I think, up for a whole new way of delivering its content to the organization. Traditionally, what happens is that meeting goes somewhere where the president of the NLC is located, and it's in a convention center, at a convention hotel, and then at night you go to a restaurant, and then maybe you go to some other venue, and that's it. And we set it up totally different. We had them all at one hotel, well, actually more than one hotel, but we brought them all over the community to see stuff. And frankly, 15 years ago at the National League of Cities, that's how we tended to do meetings, but we've gotten into this convention center mode, and this broke us out of it, and I don't know now if they're gonna wanna go back, because they were able to fan out across the city, and I know we had to have city staff find all those locations, make sure all those locations were available, provide transportation to all those locations, count all the noses, herd all the cats, do all that stuff to make that happen, deal with anybody on the receiving end who wasn't sure what they were getting. I actually got one call. I got one call from a state agency wondering whether or not there was a terror risk of having this many mayors and council members at a certain location, if they should like deploy extra security. So it's very interesting the level of things you have to deal with, right, when you do a meeting like this. So thank you all I hope you enjoyed it as well.
It was fun. We
made a heck of an impression on people. The things I hear about, number one, is soil-borne. The council members who attended that, some of them knew what urban agriculture was and what it was like, but they hadn't seen it. And those who talked to me got the spiel of how it's integrated with our schools, right? And how it's a partnership with the city. Does the city own it? No. Did the city choose to put it there? No. Does the city primarily fund it? No. Do you help it at all? Yes. How do you help it? Well, we give them grants, we knock down barriers, find partnerships for them, and we fund part of the school part. Well, why doesn't, you fund something that happens in the schools? It's just so confusing, the notion of partnerships, that we view here as normal, but they view from the rest of the country as extraordinary. Like, how do you do that? The second thing that puzzled them the most, the board members from the National League of Cities, when we had our meeting here, is that Micah and Shelley and Lee and Diane made a presentation about how the city develops partnerships with organizations. Community Council was lead example, Chamber of Commerce, obviously another example, and then they had further on examples like Soborn Farm while they were here. That is probably the most shocking thing for people. They all want what we have. They all want that level of partnership. They want a community council that can do events. They want a in-depth partnership with the chamber. There's just so many barriers elsewhere to doing that. So I've heard an awful lot about that. But again, just thank you all for doing a great job. I hope you all enjoyed it. To some extent, we all put it on the resume now. We hosted a big meeting. But I think we really made a mark for Rancho Cordova. So that is a good thing. And hopefully we have some stuff we picked up, like feedback from people. I know I certainly got some. After that meeting, I got COVID, and then I had to go off to the U.S. Conference of Mayors and give a talk. So Donald, you had to fill in for me. One of the topics at SACOG, as near as I can tell, because I wasn't actually at the meeting, but I got a lot of communications about it, was whether or not in future planning and distribution of transportation funds, because that's what SACOG exists to do for the region, is can they fund a highway interchange, or should they ban them from any kind of SACOG-supported funding? That is a big deal for us, potentially, because we have an interchange we need to build. It's a big deal for Elk Grove, big deal for the county, big deal for everybody in Placer County. But, there's a differing view among maybe the more urban types who are in that room. So I don't know how much of that debate actually came out at the meeting.
Why would they choose an interchange?
Because they assume that all added interchanges are growth-inducing.
Nothing that specific.
Nothing that specific came out?
It was very...
That's the language that circulated.
The hyperbole was very in general. And it was Pat Hume and it was and Darren Soon that were adding words back in and other suggestions. That wouldn't have come from either of them.
Okay.
No, nothing that specific.
All right. Very good.
As the guy trying to play catch up in those meetings.
I'll listen to the full text of the meeting, but I had the benefit of a lot of commentary coming in by email and text without actually being at the meeting. So, all right. Thank you for covering for me there. U.S. Conference of Mayors, a very interesting venue in Kansas City. And I heard some things about art and the sort of facilities you can do. They're not even facilities. They're like the alley art is basically what it would amount to. And you can create an area that might be applicable to us in some neighborhood, like around the Target Center, for example, where you use the back of the buildings as the front of your art gallery. So you sort of decorate in a large way the backs of the buildings, different artists, different buildings, maybe multiple backs of buildings, and you create an outdoor art venue. Then you do concerts there, and then every year the art sort of changes. Last year's stuff is painted over, back of the building now gets painted with something else. And this becomes like a destination art thing. So I think that was a really cool idea that probably deserves a little exploration. But that was a winning idea. And I texted a few people and got mostly positive response from our art people in Rancho Cordova. And then finally, 4th of July is coming this week. So we've got a big parade, 2 nights of concert, 2 nights of fireworks, a circus, a carnival, 50 food vendors, I think is what I heard, 50 food vendors. 20, 30,000 people will come to Hagan Park. It'll be the biggest 4th of July event in Northern California. And it should make us look great. I know construction's been going on for days, so I can't wait to see it. Can't wait to see it all rolled out, and hopefully you guys can make it. We think the temperatures are gonna be pretty high during the day, but will cool off by the time we're setting off fireworks and listening to concerts. So should be a great week's events. Oh, there's also a run.
Who's running this year?
I think it's your turn, Garrett.
I'm not mayor yet.
Oh. No, I don't think it's a mayor thing. I think
I'm pretty sure we need the mayor to do at least the first mile.
it's just a mile, yeah.
No, a mile.
Yeah,
Just a
anybody can
quick
do a mile.
10, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
Bam.
We do have a history of entering races and winning, because, you know, we had an Eppes Gray race team, and we creamed the competition in that.
Except there wasn't any.
Shout, Linda!
Why you always gotta call us out? We're trying to go for the win here. Why are y'all making us look bad?
We were number one.
We'll
in
edit
our,
that out of the video.
Number one in our division.
Number one in our division, exactly.
That's fire.
Folsom wasn't number one. Elk Grove wasn't number one. Citrus Heights wasn't number one. Rancho Cordova was number one.
It's like
That's
valedictorian at a home school.
It was our home course. Yeah, it wasn't fair. Okay. Any other items from the council? If not, city manager report.
Thank you, Mayor, and I just want to thank you and appreciate the gratitude for the NLC week. I did talk about it a little bit a couple weeks ago and appreciate the work that the team did. And really, I think it's listening both directions. We were presenting a lot of our programs and things that we're doing here, but also listening with big ears as far as what other folks are doing too that we could learn from. So I think the team had a great time participating in that program. And so I think we'll keep the events going and really want to kind of talk about the 4th of July and the air show and really talk about the kind of the city and the team's work and putting those all of those together and the kind of the support role that we play. And so we'll have many folks involved in that on both the 3rd, the 4th, and then the air show on the next weekend. So I think we'll continue to do those great events and really appreciate the team's support in putting those together. One other item is we are, speaking of the heat on 4th of July, we do have a cooling center open through next Sunday. And so from this 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. every day, except the holiday, except for the 4th, we'll have cooling center open here at City Hall until Sunday, and always can be extended if the heat continues to prevail. So with that, I think I will actually just defer some comments over to our city attorney to talk a little bit about a Supreme Court case that has a relation to us and the Grants Pass decision. So, Mr. Lindgren.
It's been a busy week for the U.S. Supreme Court and a couple decisions that have impacts for the city and other agencies around the state. In particular, the Grants Pass decision essentially gives the local agencies the right to specifically prohibit camping in public areas without the additional hurdles that were a bit confusing and challenging that were erected by the Boise decision. So it essentially overturns that decision, and we'll be back, we expect, before the council in late August or thereabouts with exact options on what to do. Next, you'll have a few choices about how you respond to that decision. There's also been a number of other important decisions. One of them overturned a very important idea in federal government litigation that gave deference to the interpretations and actions of regulatory agencies. That deference is now gone. So we're going to need to think carefully about what that does to funding partners in the federal government or some of the other regulations that agencies face when we either take opportunities or go ahead and do things. A very important week by the Supreme Court that will take us a little bit of time to fully unpack and think through the implications of. But on the homeless issue, we're right on top of that and working very actively on that as a continued high priority for the council.
And the other item you're referring to is the overturning of the, was it called the Chevron doctrine?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, that is a very interesting one. It sort of makes more work for the courts and for lawyers on the face of it, I would think.
Well,
As opposed to,
it also makes a lot of work for Congress.
yeah, more work for Congress.
They actually will do it.
As opposed to deferring to the agency to interpret its own authorizing legislation, yeah.
And I think that when coupled with the decision that came out today that said you can essentially ignore the statute of limitations on regulations and regulatory interpretations by the federal government, it makes deference to agencies much weaker. And I think it'll be important for Congress to be much more explicit.
Okay.
When does the Boise?
Because they're really good at that.
Yeah.
When, do you know when the Boise decision
individually.
comes up before them?
No, that's it. That was
Oh,
this
that
week.
was the
That was-
overturning
No,
of
that
Boise?
was the Grants Pass one is really.
Grants Pass essentially
the
overturned
one that made it.
the
Overturns
decision.
Boise decision.
Yeah.
Okay.
Augments Boise.
Overturns?
Different case.
It
but-
really
It flips it, right?
Overturned it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Micah, you don't have any grant announcements for us?
Oh,
Or
sure.
award announcements?
That's probably.
Trying to save that, just ruined it.
You want to save it?
I didn't know, are we supposed to save it to the big thing?
Oh, is there a?
We're doing the thing on the thing with the TV and
A deferred
all the
announcement?
stuff. So I was just gonna.
Is it
say-
already out in the
I know what
media?
you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
I know what you're talking about.
Do we want to
Already out
stop?
in the media?
It is out a little bit.
It's out a little bit.
I think it's the SACB. So it's your deference as far as if you'd like me to talk about the nice award, or we'll defer to the
We can-
future
we
media.
can-
You know, what's really
announcement.
funny was that there was that TV camera in here and we didn't
Oh, yeah.
say it earlier today. But no, yeah. Go.
So we'll save that for later, the big
Okay,
announcement.
we'll do that. Very good. We're going to move on to, if there's nothing else, we're going to move on to consent calendar items. This is item number 13. Consent calendar items consist of matters deemed routine and non-controversial by staff. Unless a member of the council wishes to pull an item for individual consideration, all items will be approved by one motion. So we are talking about items 13.1 and 13.2. Are there any items the council wishes to pull from the consent calendar?
Hearing none, I'll move the
Just a
calendar.
second.
Oh,
Is there any public comment?
There's no public comment.
move the item.
Motion made and seconded. Roll call, please.
Councilmember Terry,
Aye.
Councilmember Gatewood,
Aye.
Councilmember Budge,
Yes.
Vice Mayor Pulapati,
Yes.
Mayor Sander.
Aye. That brings us on to item number 14, consent public hearing items, of which there are none. We then move on to public hearing items and item 15.1, if the clerk would announce the subject.
The subject is a resolution authorizing the city manager to execute contract number 2024-93 in an amount not to exceed $390,000 with Clutch for a Jobs and Talent Attraction Economic Incentive Award.
Amanda, you are up.
Amanda is not presenting on this item.
Amanda is not presenting.
Not tonight. Hi, everyone. My name is Lydia, and I am part of the Economic Development team, and I am joined by my colleague, who I will let introduce herself.
Greetings, everyone. I'm Laura Fickle, Economic Development Consultant for the city.
So today, we are going to be talking about a Jobs and Talent Attraction Program agreement with Clutch, which is a business here in Rancho Cordova. Just an overview of the presentation. We're going to be talking about the Jobs and Talent Attraction Program, kind of going over an overview of the background of the program, and then kind of how the partnership with Clutch came to be. Then we will let Clutch come to the podium and introduce themselves and talk a little bit about their business and why they're here in Rancho Cordova. Then we will be talking about the economic impact and community benefit, as well as the criteria for the incentive program. And then we will be looking to council for some guidance on the proposed resolution and next steps. So some background on the program. So in 2016, the Economic Development Department presented a 5-year strategic plan, which included 4 main areas of focus, which were business attraction, business retention and expansion, network building, marketing, and visibility, and areas of collaboration. As a product of the 5-year strategic plan, on August 19th, 2019, City Council passed and adopted a resolution approving the establishment of the Jobs and Talent Attraction Program to boost the quality of life within the city by diversifying the local economy and providing high-quality jobs. The Jobs and Talent Attraction Program was designed to attract business expansions or headquarters operations with a focus on fast-growing scale-up businesses and new outside capital investment. The program was designed to enhance the city's competitiveness in attracting businesses that would further develop the quality of life within the city by providing high-quality services, products, and jobs to its residents. The Jobs and Talent Attraction Program would attract businesses that create jobs which are 125% or more of the city's average wage by offering an incentive of $5,000 per job that meet that threshold. In January 2024, Clutch announced that they would be leasing an existing building at 3249 Quality Drive here in Rancho Cordova to establish its headquarters for operations. The company's location to the city aims to bring promising opportunities, including the creation of high-wage jobs, boosting activity within the city's office park, and providing significant economic benefits to the city. In an effort to support Clutch's expansion and encourage further investment in our community, a Jobs and Talent Attraction Program Incentive Agreement has been prepared for consideration. At this point, I would like to introduce the Clutch team that is here with us this evening to share a little bit about Clutch and why they chose Rancho Cordova. Today, we are joined by co-founder Ann Descalzo, Chief Administrative Officer Jim Allen, and Chief Delivery Officer Mark Allard. And then Ann, there is a PowerPoint clicker up there for you that you can control.
Thank you.
Very good. Welcome.
Thank you so much, Mayor Sander and the council. Glad to be back here. Shared a little bit about Clutch being headquartered in Rancho Cordova earlier this year, and proud to come back and share more and new information and to be talking about our growth. For those that are not familiar, we are a experience-oriented consulting firm focusing on management services. We're a certified women-owned business by the federal government. We hold several designations because of that, so one of them being the WBENC certification and SBA's Women-Owned Small Business certification. We were named the 2024 Regional Fastest Growing Business by Inc. magazine, and also Company of the Year by the American Business Awards, and then just recently named on the fastest growing business list for the Sacramento Business Journal for our region. So a little bit about who we serve. We serve the government, so state, local, education sector. We also focus on private businesses. We were once a small and mighty team in a startup, so we enjoy serving entrepreneurs and sort of nurturing the innovation in the space that we're in now and to come. And additionally, small businesses. We have a wealth of experience within our organization focusing on financial services and see an opportunity for change management and innovation in that space in the financial services industry. So I will pass it over to Mark to talk a little bit more about our services.
Thank you, Ann. My name is Mark Allard. I'm the Chief Delivery Officer at Clutch. And thank you very much, Council, for the opportunity to talk to a little bit what Clutch does. So we have a wide array of professional services team members who deliver on government contracts primarily. We have 20 contracts that we service within the various areas of Northern California, State of California. So within those contracts, we perform program management, project management. We have everywhere from policy analysts working for the state of California. We do event management, we do analytics, like data analytics, data mining, things of that sort. And we have found that in the most recent proposals that we've worked on, there's been a large desire to expand into change operations, change management, human-centered design, people operations, and workforce development, learning and development. And we're really excited, actually, to just share a little bit personal. I started my career about 300 yards away here in the WebEx Cisco building, so it's really exciting to find myself home again in Rancho Cordova 20 years later. So thank you for being here for us. And we're really excited to have that opportunity for our members to come in person and actually work together and have those natural collisions that occur whenever you have a space to work together instead of just being a remote company. So thank you for having us here.
And as mentioned earlier, we're located at 3249 Quality Drive. Our building was one of VSP's prior building locations, and we are proud to bring community into this space, not only to be headquartered in Rancho Cordova, but to have a really collaborative space where our clients can come in and work side by side with us. We can bring foot traffic back to the business park there, and we also had the pleasure of being a satellite location for the National League of Cities. While all of those mayors were here, and both Mark, myself, and Jim, and another member of our executive team were able to participate in a think tank session with some of the nation's leaders and really share what we were doing here and the great partnership that we have with the city. And they had a lot of questions that I think David fielded for them around that. But we've really enhanced the space, brought some life and vibrancy to the facility as we've moved in about 6 months ago and over the course of this past spring, and really see it as an opportunity to continue to invite folks in to be in this collaborative space with us. Why Rancho? I'm probably preaching to the choir here because you also all chose Rancho as a place to work and do business. We see it as an opportunity to bring the workforce in. It's a very common place for organizations to settle and invite the workforce. We also know and see the work that the city does to level and skill up residents of Rancho Cordova, and we'd love to be hiring those folks. Sacramento in itself and the city of Rancho Cordova is very diverse, and we celebrate that within our organization. We see the technology and innovation that's taking place here, and we want to be part of that. We have a very community-minded ethos within our organization. We were very proud to sponsor and participate in the Community Service Day that just happened this spring. We see the work that happens among our community and giving back in time, talent, and resources, and that's what our culture is at Clutch. And additionally, we see the business community and the partnerships that you all talk about, whether it's the Chamber of Commerce or bringing businesses together. Not only do we have the location for it, but we have the heart for bringing connectivity into the workplace. So I will pass it over to Jim to talk a little bit about our hiring projections.
Good evening, Mayor, council members. I'm here just to say that we've been working closely with the program administration to determine that there are appropriate and accurate projections of what we can hire and the economic advantage we can give to the community. So those are represented here by quarter. And as you can see, we can see a total of almost $10 million of wages that would result from our partnership and collaboration and bringing in some new employees. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Jim. We're excited about the prospect of growth. And I will close and pass it back over to the city staff here. One, by saying we have a slogan and we say we come in clutch. We really love to help our clients address challenges. We want to be part of the growth and innovation that happens in the city of Rancho Cordova, and a skilled workforce that comes into the city and continues to celebrate everything that it's about. And I want to wish the city a happy birthday and Vice Mayor a happy birthday, and thank you for the time tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Mayor, Council. Again, Laura Fickle, Economic Development Consultant. I'm going to go into the incentive criteria for you. Minimum salary to qualify for the program is $91,000, and that was the formula of 125% of the average wage, which was $72,800. 78 people is their projected hiring over the 4 quarters, and that's $5,000 apiece, comes out to $390,000 total incentive. This is paid out in increments, so they'll get a half paid up front per job, half paid at the end of the year of qualified reporting, and then it will be tracked for 5 years. And the company is required to stay in the city for 5 years. And so this is a partnership. This is an investment in this partnership that we're excited to take with them. We'll talk about the economic impact of this investment. $93.8 million in total regional economic output over 5 years. $89.5 million of that is the direct impact estimated from that company itself. And this is applied economics, an assessment that was done. And that is personal and private property investment, it's wages, it's indirect and direct jobs that were created based on these projections. The Clutch project itself is estimated to create a total of 185 jobs over the year. So we're incentivizing 78 of the high wage jobs, and then there'll be the supportive jobs that come along with that as well, which can benefit the diverse, growing the diverse economy of jobs needed for our residents. There's also the office park activation. This is seeing our office park, has been impacted by COVID and remote work and hybrid work. And having an active community member that is having events and employees coming in and out will have a real tangible impact on activation for the office park. And also market visibility. Ann touched on the awards and accolades they've have and the conversations they're having at very high levels that is bringing recognition to our city. And lastly, community benefit, just touching on that again, the fostering a diverse job market. It's not just the high wage jobs, it's the jobs that come at every level that it's a job multiplier that provide a range of career opportunities. We're also talking about increased sales tax to local businesses when they're coming in, having lunch, going out to the Barrel District afterwards, doing lunch meetings. Corporate events, we're seeing an increase in TOT if they're coming in to stay at hotels. And then seeing that activation in our business park will hopefully attract more business to that. And then lastly, community development through participation and sponsorship of community events. It's really about these businesses coming in and really investing in being a partner with us as a community. And I'll pass it back to Lydia.
Thank you, Laura and the Clutch team. Now that you've heard from Clutch and from city staff, we would like council to consider adopting the resolution or provide staff with additional guidance or direction for the proposed agreement.
Can you go back one slide? So that wasn't on accident that we had all of them come here and do their whole check presentation on that at the same time, and then you threw the photo in at the end of the... The timing of this seems amazing.
That was coincidence.
That was sure
it
was. No questions.
That's good. Well, it is such a pleasure to have you guys here and are to be benefiting as a community from having you guys here. And we, of course, look to a long and fruitful partnership. So this is a really easy resolution.
Yeah, we're very excited to have a bunch of nerds like you guys and us in our group. Listen, hey, us nerds are taking over slowly. It's exciting.
Nerd power.
Except for my bestie isn't here. I'm a little upset about that. She sent her brother, but yeah.
I see lots of friends in front of me. But
we love you guys, but you know.
Well, and I know we're gonna take public comment, but I would just say that you're the best example that we could possibly show somebody of what we can do with this business park. You drive around here, and for years we were always saying this is the biggest home field advantage we have is we have all of these businesses and we have all of these employees coming here, and that's what's keeping our restaurants alive and everything. And if you've driven around since March of 2020, our parking lots are pretty bare. And the biggest opportunity now that we have is to land companies like you to come here and set up shop and pick up one of the buildings that they had listed for the last couple of years, right? As you see these insurance companies, that a lot of those jobs can be done remotely. And so we're just thrilled to have you here and to be able to show to other people that we're here, we're open for business, and you don't have to go build a building. You can retrofit it to what you want it to look like, and we've got the parking and we've got the amenities, and we're open for business and looking for opportunities to collaborate and support organizations just like yourself. So thrilled to have you here. I've known many of you for many, many, many years in other hats that we've worn over the years, but it's awesome to say that your headquarters are here in Rancho. We're very proud of that.
And what a fabulous building, right? Amazing space. Very cool.
Getting better.
Any public comment?
Can you open the public hearing?
Oh, I can do that. Public hearing is now open.
We do not have any public comment for this item.
Public hearing is now closed.
Move the item.
Are you guys installing a slide or a waterfall or a climbing structure or anything like that?
Diaz, I went listen, you have competition. Red Dog.
Red
Tail. Has a slide. However,
That's what I was
it's
gonna say.
right into a concrete wall. Now, it's very exciting because you take it and you get through it, and then you're running into a wall, which they put a pad so you can fall down. Crazy. So I want you to go with that. Now, water slide out into a coffee shop. Now, work with me here. This is a Muse idea. Micah, write him a check. Because I'm excited about these opportunities, about how to make, like, oh, did you go to the tech company where you slash on a water slide to the coffee shop and that's how you get there? Exciting.
The insurance liability in my head of the things that he's talking about.
I'd like to add that I'd like to see your building. I know we've been rescheduled a couple of times, but I'd really like to see what these guys are talking about.
We don't want to disappoint you with the lack of the water slide, but yes, agreed. Open to all the creative ideas. Thank you so much.
I'll restate, move the item.
Is there a second? Roll call, please.
Who was the second? Budge. Okay, thank you. Councilmember Budge?
Yes.
Councilmember Terry?
Aye.
Councilmember Gatewood?
Hell yeah.
Vice Mayor Pulapati?
Yes.
Mayor Sander?
Aye.
The motion passes.
Thank you very
We'll
much.
get a lot of people.
Hire a lot of people.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, we're moving on to item 15.2. If the clerk could announce the subject.
A resolution approving a conditional use permit for the Mather Veterans Village Phase 4 multifamily housing project for homeless veterans, project number PLND 03240095, and adopting findings overruling the Airport Land Use Commission pursuant to the overrule process of Public Utilities Code, Section 21676B, that the conditional use permit is consistent with the purposes of Public Utilities Code, Section 21670.
All right, Stefan, you are up.
Do we actually have to have the presentation? I think we all talked this one to death, but
I think it's a brief presentation.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Let's go quickly.
We trust you.
Good
Stefan.
evening.
So go ahead.
Good evening, Mayor, City Council, Stefan Heisler, Housing Manager for the city, with what I hope is the penultimate installment of our adventure to get to our Mather Veterans Village Phase 4. So we have gone over a lot of this presentation already on our May 3rd presentation, so I can go through it pretty quickly now. The goals are to present the overview of the project and the conditional use application, as well as to present and discuss the Mather Airport land use compatibility situation. And really the main one here for the difference for tonight is to present the staff recommendation to adopt the findings overruling the Airport Land Use Commission and approving the conditional use permit. So I think you need to open a public hearing first. So in May, the council directed staff to submit the proposed action and findings to the Mather Airport Land Use Commission and Caltrans. We left that open for the 45-day statutory period. We did receive a comment from Caltrans. They don't support the project, but they did not specify any ways that we could improve our design or our findings to meet their criteria. They didn't even list criteria. So we received that letter. We are incorporating that into the official record this evening. We have completed the land transaction with Sacramento County. So the city is now the owner of the land. And so I can go through this pretty quickly. The project has not changed. It's still 70 units of affordable housing for homeless and disabled veterans and homeless households. The site plan has not changed again. And the funding hasn't changed as well. You'll hear me come back on this item for the funding commitment letter in just a minute. Again, this is language we saw on May 3rd when we were considering sort of the proposed conditional use permit application. Nothing has changed there either. The airport land use compatibility, as we mentioned before, we are in the safety zone and a noise contour. And so we've made some findings. We've followed the 4 steps there on the slide. We received the comments from Caltrans. We're incorporating that into the record. Tonight, we do need an action by 4/5 of the council. And then just to reiterate that overruling the ALUC does release the airport operator from any property damage or liability or personal injury caused by airport operations. We've made the findings. You've seen the draft on May 3rd. We have not made any substantial changes since that time. And so our staff recommendation this evening is to adopt the resolution, making findings overruling the Airport Land Use Commission and approving the conditional use permit. And so if so directed, the next steps for us is we will be finalizing the tax credit application, the low-income housing tax credit application, which will be submitted tomorrow. And if we are fortunate to get an award with that, we could begin construction as soon as early next year.
Sounds good.
In the next couple of months, you will see the project come in, or you may not see it because it'll go to Planning Commission, but the project will submit for design review. And if we are awarded tax credits, we'll be coming back. That'll be the ultimate installment of this adventure.
You just said this.
This is penultimate. But we'll be coming back with all of the sort of development agreement, other documents, regulatory agreements for the affordable housing piece. So with that, that's the end of the presentation, and happy to take any comments and questions.
He said penultimate means he only has one more shot after this. Yeah, he's down. This is, one after this, that's it. All right.
This is kind of neck-breaking speed, though, from where we had,
Yeah.
looking at bidding this, the projects that we were looking at a couple years ago of the 5 that we got. And, I mean, this land was conditioned. The county wouldn't have sold or given us this land without this being affordable housing anyway. So, like, great job for getting it all the way here.
It is also amazing to me that once we got this ball rolling for homeless housing for veterans at Mather, how it just continues. When the first phase took 15, 14 years.
They said 15 years, they said great job. I was like,
And the article that's being published in several places pretty much indicates the county's taking credit for it.
Of course.
I'm just glad we were able to.
They missed that event 21 years ago.
Nice of them.
Did you open the
Mayor,
public hearing?
I would of course
yeah.
just emphasize that for staff and for the community, that this is another example of an incredible amount of partnership by the city
Right.
with other folks, from Ami Burr's office to the county. And we will, of course, have providers involved in this right here. Thank you for being here.
Yeah, the guy the guy that's in charge of most hot dogs from Nation's Finest, the CEO of Nation's Finest is that.
Wrong company.
I'm pretty sure it's the same. He's part of my ALF class. I
just want to bet, Garrett. All right.
Was
I'm
that
gonna
on
open
the hot
public
dog
hearing.
comment?
Do we have
Yeah.
any public
Every
comment
time.
on this?
We do not have any public comment.
All right, I will close the public hearing.
Can I just say one other thing that, and we haven't talked about the point in time count and some of the really favorable things that came out of this last one, where kind of across the board, we saw, what, a 30% reduction in homeless counts. It may not feel like that. Some people may not believe that data, but that conducting it the same way every 2 years, that's what the data is showing. And I think with this, I got to go back and look at the numbers, but we're on the precipice of getting to a functional zero for veteran homeless within the city.
Yeah.
that's great.
And that may be one of the first cities in this region for sure that's taken any one population and addressed to what's considered a functional zero, which just means for the number of unhoused in a certain population within your community, do you have enough beds and shelter beds to house those people? And I think we're getting close within our city. Now, this facility serves the region, not here.
Right.
But if you just look at the number of beds to the number of people that we have, and the number of units that we have, it's a unique perspective for us to be in. So
Yeah, we did have that challenge in phase one where there were, I don't remember, was it 60, 50? 50 units in phase one, and I think 2 or 3 of them were from Rancho Cordova. That was it out of the group. That did cause a little heartburn among us, even though it was a 15-year project to get to that point. This is a regional location for
So
for
is the
homeless.
community campus and a lot of the other things.
Right.
I mean, and to be frank, it's a regional problem. And if we sit around and say just fix it here, then we're not addressing that. And you know, just because everyone else gets to have homeless and we don't, doesn't mean that we don't shop and move about the region. So, but it is impressive to look at this and to say this was one of the firsts in the country to build a facility like this. There's a lot more that have been built, but how many have come back for a 3rd and 4th phase?
Well, and think of how functional I can't claim any of this, that you guys actually planned this out. it's homeless veteran housing on a retired air base next to a VA hospital.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't
Next to a
plan
job
it better
training-
than that.
next to a
I've
job
never-
training center,
Like,
yeah.
just the logic. And then, I mean, we probably didn't put it up, but the VOA just they were cutting all the funding, and they go in there and they try to educate them and get them jobs so that reintegrate them. They just got full funding from the federal government. So, I mean, it's just an amazing grouping there. And the thing I always say is when it comes to homeless veteran housing or anything when it comes to our vets, that is in the core DNA of our city. So I've never, ever, ever had anyone ever complain about helping out this community.
Yeah.
And so they always are 100%. So when we come out, we're like, we're gonna do this, this, and this, they always step up.
So I will move that we find the environmental document adequate and appropriate, and that we adopt the findings overruling the Air Force Land Use Commission, and approve the conditional use permit for the Mather Veterans Village Phase 4.
Second.
All right, roll call, please.
Councilmember Terry?
Aye.
Councilmember Budge?
Yes.
Councilmember Gatewood?
Yep.
Vice Mayor Pulapati?
Yes.
Mayor Sander?
Aye.
Motion passes.
I'm reminded of that problem we had with this project where HUD said you had to do 13B before you did 13A, and the VA said you had to do 13A before you did 13B. Like their authorizing legislation was in conflict. What did that take, years to resolve?
This is why that court case for Chevron is a bad thing for this country.
It's terrible.
Because you can't even get the departments to make decisions like that. They've got to go back to Congress because the authorizing legislation doesn't make sense.
Yeah, both were unwilling to change. They both had, no, this is our way of doing it. Okay.
They can't even interpret those things anymore.
Yeah, we had to do a legislative fix to that one, I think. All right, we are on to regular calendar items, item 16.1. If the clerk could read that subject, please.
A resolution approving the Economic Development Department Jobs and Talent Attraction Program revision.
Good evening,
All right.
Mr. Mayor.
Now it's Amanda.
Ta-da! Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. I'm Amanda with the Economic Development Department, and with me tonight is
Ashley Kobe, Economic Development Analyst.
And just previously this evening, you did hear a item with Clutch, one of our business partners. We are now going to be discussing the Jobs and Talent Program that was under, but looking at an update for that program. So this evening, we're going to be covering the update for this program to talk about how we're looking to modify it to respond to current market conditions. And really, a lot of the objective of the program still remains the same at its core with a slightly different focus. We are still looking to attract new businesses, headquarter operations, and to support our existing businesses in growth and expansion opportunities, with the change to focus on engineering, technology, R&D or research development, as well as artificial intelligence, advanced manufacturing, with the whole goal of bringing in new outside investment capital in. And then I'll go ahead and pass it over to Ashley.
To provide a little bit of background, in 2016, the Economic Development Department presented a 5-year strategic plan, which included 5 main areas of focus: business attraction, retention and expansion, network building, marketing and visibility, and areas of collaboration. From that plan and some Measure R funding, we were able to put together an economic development team, jobs and talent attraction program. That program was to incentivize the attraction of businesses who offer jobs at 125% or more of the city's average wage, which offered $5,000 per job and met that threshold. In 2022, creating helpful incentives to produce semiconductors, also known as the CHIPS Act, was signed into law to bring research and development, workforce development, and semiconductor manufacturing back to the USA. In 2023, the Economic Development Team presented at a council work session in January to discuss the consideration of updating the Jobs and Talent Attraction Program to be more responsive and to align with the goals of the CHIP Act. As you saw previously with the Clutch agreement, our current program was focused on fast-growing scale-up companies, offering that $5,000 incentive per job at above 125% of the average wage of the city of Rancho Cordova, which at the time was about $73,000. Companies also needed to create a minimum of 20 net new jobs. There was no specific NICS codes. NICS code stands for North American Industry Classifications System, which is a standard used by the federal government in classifying businesses for the purpose of data collection and analysis. There also was no requirement regarding remote work or an in-office work policy. So as you can see, some of those requirements are outdated, especially given 2019 and the pandemic that shifted a lot of jobs to remote work. So with the introduction of the CHIPS and Science Act of 2022, hybrid and remote work and its effect on our office park, and also seeing an increased interest in foreign direct investment here in the region, that's when the economic development team decided to take a look at our current program and see how we could amend some of those criteria to build on the momentum that was starting in 2019. Some of the considerations that led us to wanting to look at the semiconductor industry is the industry has a high jobs multiplier factor of 5.7. This factor indicates that for every worker directly employed in the sector, an additional 4.7 jobs are supported in the wider economy. It's one of the highest of any industry. 1 in 5 workers in the industry has not attended college, indicating that the semiconductor sector is a significant source of blue-collar opportunities. It also employs a larger share of non-white workers than the national average for industry. The region has also seen an increase, as mentioned, in foreign and direct investment. According to GSEC, our regional partner, 36% of their 103 current active projects are FDI. The team is looking to capitalize on these changes and to incentivize the industry along the Highway 50 corridor here in Rancho Cordova, with the understanding that industry likes to cluster. For the program revisions that we're proposing, this program will focus on headquartered companies, expansions, and satellite operations here in Rancho, creating a minimum of net new 20 jobs, with jobs paying over $100,000 base salary, which would then qualify the organization for $10,000 incentive paid over 5 years when the job is retained. The employer must have a work from home office policy for a minimum of 3 days per week to really drive that engagement back here into our office park.
Sorry, you said work from home 3 days a week?
They have to have a in-office policy. They have to be in the office for a minimum of 3 days per week.
Okay, thanks.
Apologize, no problem. While we are incentivizing high-wage employment, these companies have a job for every level of talent and skill, creating that multiplier effect. Proposed key changes, and we will demonstrate those in the economic impact analysis scenario, which Amanda will speak to in the next slide.
Thank you, Ashley. So in the previous presentation, we also talked about impact analysis. What we recognize is that when you bring in new companies and organizations, there is a ripple effect throughout your economy. So if we were to have 25 firms create at least 20 new jobs with an average wage of $100,000 each, the result would be over 500 net new jobs with over $50 million in payroll generated. From that, and that's just from those companies. So then you look at what all of the induced and direct impacts would be. So we recognize that there's going to be other people that are going to be hired in other organizations and other industries to help support and or supply chain work with these companies, which increases your overall total payroll, which also looks at new tax revenues, including when people buy new equipment, when they buy different softwares, when they go out to lunch, when they shop in their schools. All those things have a ripple effect within our community. And so we estimate that from this program, if it was to be used in its full entirety, for this analysis up here, we'd be looking at over $337 million in total economic impact to the city. Of course, this is looking at the various inputs that you put into an impact model to get this, but we do recognize is with that, as Ashley had mentioned, we just see this additional multiplier in the specific industry and the impact that it have not only here in Rancho Cordova, but along the 50 corridor, because these companies would cluster along here. And so why would we do a program like this? General rule in the site selector industry is ABC, meaning anywhere but California. So when companies are looking to locate, they will choose anywhere but California unless there's a specific reason why they want to be in California. As Ashley mentioned earlier, that we know that at one point in time, California was the lead in semiconductor manufacturing across the globe. That has been displaced from the 90s. So what an impact or what an incentive does for an organization, there still has to be the location. there still has to be the talent. All things equal, if you have that last little bit that tips the company over into your jurisdiction, an incentive can be one way of doing so, which is why we already had this program pre-approved, and if we just modify it, because recognizing that we want to drive more people back into our office park and drive different higher wage jobs back into our city. This is one avenue to do so. The other benefits to the community is it provides additional economic stability. It allows people who want to stay here and grow here, and of course does increase that local spending and investment that we expect to see throughout our community. And one of the ways we're doing this, and I will use Councilmember Gatewood's words, is we have some nerd industries that are located up here on the screen. One of the reasons we particularly chose these is for a couple different reasons. A lot of these organizations already have to be in the office, in the lab, or in light manufacturing just by the nature of their work. So they're already going to be in the office, in the location, so already drives for part of that. As we're looking at how our community has shifted over time, we always had some platform within technology and life sciences, and we're looking to grow upon what we already have here and expand within that. And the other piece that we really recognize especially is we have been working in workforce for the last couple of years. When we're looking to do trainings and different programs, if the jobs are already here, it helps us looking for future workforce development opportunities to be able to uniquely train folks into positions that are already here rather than training them for positions that are no longer operating within your jurisdiction. So for the implementation, as Ashley had mentioned earlier, we kicked off this program, COVID hit, and everything kind of just spun for a while. So with this particular new program, if it was to be considered this evening, we would be working at a pretty phased outreach for this. So our communication team would be helping us get this out to the stakeholders and brokers community. We would also be partnering with the Greater Sacramento Economic Council. This is our regional organization, is really tasked with marketing us as a regional hub. They are in support of this, and they would also be using them to help us push this out to site selectors and business locates. We did already talk with a couple site selectors, and the feedback we received on kind of a draft proposal was like, this is a game changer. There's nobody else in California that we know is doing this. So when they say California doesn't provide incentives, this is now a unique opportunity to showcase that California does. And not only California, but Rancho Cordova, and we stand above the rest. So a little conclusions, and then for some consideration for this evening. So we are looking to increase the job incentive from $5,000 to $10,000. That is paid out over a 5-year period. So that's not all at one shot. They get piece at front and then $2,000 for each year that employee is with us. As Ashley mentioned, it is a mandatory work in the office 3 days per week. And we expect to see not only additional economic growth from this, but increased activity in our office park. We have a lot of opportunity out there right now. So we see this as a good way of starting to getting more people into there. As we recognize when Solid M was able to locate here, it was because we had the available space for them to locate into. So we see that as a plus. So for this evening, we would like to consider updating the Jobs and Talent Attraction Program, or provide us with some additional feedback for the SIP.
Mayor Sanders, I'm going to recuse myself from the rest of this conversation.
Very good. All right, questions, comments? Go ahead, Linda.
I completely support your whole concept here. I really do. But I do have 2 questions. I like the fact that with the target industries you've chosen, it's industries where people would normally be in the office. But conversely, when you tell the employer that they're mandated to be in the office a certain number of days a week, it's really kind of like messing with their personnel practices rather than, which seems to me kind of a little bit divergent from the whole nature of the program itself.
Yeah, we definitely hear that, Councilmember Budge. The way we're looking at this is a lot of these programs already do it. So it's just an additional safety net in our program that kind of ensures that they're here. But we recognize just by the nature of these, it's one of the reasons we kind of selected a lot of these is not
Right.
only for their high growth, but the fact that it's really hard to tinker around with R&D when you're at home rather than being in the field doing the research.
You know, and
And
if, I was just going to say to kind of add to that a little bit is, you know, the reason why there's an economic benefit of those companies being here is because the employees and the folks are in the building. And so it is a little bit of, you know, kind of holding a different standard, but it's because that standard actually delivers the results of the payback of the investment that, you know, the city is making in this partnership, that then the business is then, you know, making that investment in us. And so I think that's part of the reason for that too, is because that's where the return on investment for us comes from in pursuing the program.
Well, and I was going to say, I completely acknowledge that part of the benefit is having the people right here. That's where that astounding 5.7 multiplier comes in. You know, you're right. We do want people who are going to live here or who are going to go eat those restaurants so that they can all open up at dinner time again and not just be confined to lunch. So I get that part. The only other thing I would question, like this conversation you and I had earlier tonight, Amanda, it seems like within the target industries, there should be something related to cybersecurity.
We will note that. I'll go ahead and take a look at these because I know that usually, as Ashley mentioned, the NAICS codes, they're a broad category, and then within there, they broken down and get more narrow and narrow. So a lot of times the broad category of, I don't want to say software, but that will be noted, and we can go ahead and modify that if if cybersecurity is not included within this.
It's funny because I don't think I've ever had anybody say the whole thing that the Nexus, I call it Naxos code in my world of banking, but it's funny, I don't recall anybody ever saying it out loud like that. But we also got to remember, it's the federal government that defines these, and it's based off of filing your taxes and what your job and industry and things are. So to sit here, we're relying on the IRS to identify things for us. We shouldn't expect them to be very good at this. I do want to comment, though, about the mandatory work. As somebody who's a hybrid position for a company, I don't know if I would go work for a company that did that. And I wonder, like I appreciate your targeting of what kinds of companies and that those are more likely to be ones that are going to be in person, which would fill up our parking lots and other things that we were just talking about. But I could live without that. I mean, maybe for the jobs that we're going to give a tax incentive for, those ones need to be in person. And if not, like they're creating other jobs and doing other things, maybe they don't get a tax credit for those, but we still want them to do that. But, you know, to tell a company that, you know, all your new ones need to be this. And so you need to tell your marketing and communications person who could be living in Alaska and do that kind of a job, right? But I agree with you. If you're doing R&D in a wet lab, you're not going to do that remotely. You need to come in, put on your clean suit and whatever, and get sprayed with bleach and walk into some room and build whatever you're going to build. You got to be germ-free environments, man. I don't work in those things, but hey, man, I saw Contagion in all those other
Clean
movies.
rooms built the
We're not building
yeah.
germs. It's
So-
the AI world. It's a bunch of nerds with pizza
Clean-
and Diet Coke.
clean rooms built the OMS
Clean
engines
rooms are
for
clean
the space
rooms.
shuttle.
They need to be clean. So personally, I would be fine with that not being in there. And I think like, or just direction to staff that if that was the sticking point between landing somebody and not landing somebody, and they said, oh, well, you know, we would have done this had it not been for that thing. Okay, fine. Like, buy your building. I mean, you got to think about it this way. Yes, it'd be great if they lived here, but imagine telling Intel, you know, like, or imagine like Intel, how many hotel rooms does Folsom get because of people that commute here by flying here, right? And I mean, that's half of their hotels probably over there. And most of our business park hotels here are because of business travel coming here to come work for something else. So, you know, you hire somebody that, you know, my boss lives in Denver, right? She flies in once a month for a week to be at our headquarters for our bank. So she doesn't live there. She bought a house in California too, right? And lives in that most of the time or sometime while she's here, right? So there are examples where it's remote or it's hybrid work like that, where you're expecting somebody to be here and they're paying into the travel and tourism taxes that we're doing too, right? So like it could be a double-edged sword. There's a lot of different ways that we could get to that. Yes, somebody who gets a job here and stays living in Clear Lake and never comes to the office, that's one thing. But if you don't target those kinds of companies, like we don't want certain, tech consulting companies, let's say, for an example, where you're doing web design and everybody that has a computer has a job, they can live anywhere in the world and do that. That's probably not what we want to be targeting. But I think you've thought enough about which ones that you want to target that just leave it at that. And I could live without the 3-day work week as a mandatory thing. For
Yeah, and I'll probably let Amanda address this too, but I think it was targeted for the particular job. So like you saw earlier tonight with Clutch, they actually hired a lot more folks to move in, but only those that qualified got the incentive. So I think it would be approached the similar way, where it's only to those jobs. If they want to bring other jobs here that are remote and other things too that are 1 day a week, those are fine. That's just not what we're targeting for the incentive.
And,
So
and
I
I'm
think
not expecting many of the leads and stuff that you're talking to come back and watch our meetings, but I would just say if it's a deal killer or that's the thing that gets us from like go to 2 days or something else like that, you have all of my support to consider doing that, to land these things. Because to your point, yeah, Clutch is going to add a bunch of other jobs. If we had said every job has to be that, and I guess, are they living within this parameter now? They're not. They didn't have to.
correct. That was
Right.
the old program.
So imagine if we were to have lost them because we had this rule. That's what I'm more concerned about. I want to make your life easier, to be honest with you. Land the jobs, and if 75% of them are 3 days a week, fine. If even it's 50, fine. And the rest aren't.
I think we have the flexibility, and I think, and Amanda has the proactive work to, if there's something that's important, we're not going to let things get in the way of that from a program standpoint.
And Mike, I find that a really good example, the Clutch example. You're right. So if other people who come to work for them wouldn't qualify for the program, but those that do are the ones who are going to be in the office that 3 days a week.
But they weren't under this
So
agreement.
I think that makes a lot of sense.
Any opinion?
You do whatever it takes to get tech jobs in here. You heard that. Donald said whatever it takes.
Well, not just tech
Hamburger
job,
and cheese, you want some coffee, whatever it takes to land the next Google in Rancho Cordova.
So-
Real question, AI, is that in one of the snack buckets?
Yes, it is.
Okay, good. Because I know we have a lot of stuff. Listen, that's all I care at this point.
Snacks.
Listen, snack buckets. And what I'm looking, and I know that's the big thing, and I know we have a couple amazing opportunities that are trying to come into the city right now. And I just want to see us partner with them and take it to the next level, because I really feel like Rancho Cordova is going to really step out as a tech hub once we can lock in on the AI thing. Because everyone kind of knows what it is, but no one really knows how to take advantage of it. And a couple of our partners are really starting to step into that space. So I think that's great. I think all this is great. Everything you're doing about pushing economic development through technology is exactly where we want to be.
Yep.
That and grow your staff.
So clearly there's an advantage to having people in office because they're more likely to shop here, buy stuff here, live here. If you had 100% remote employees, the benefit to us would be kind of questionable, I suppose, as a locale. So I think the 3 might be reasonable, but I think there's also the need to probably have some consideration on how that might work. There might be a situation where it's 1 week you're here and then the next week you're not, or I don't know. Something like that would mess up the metric. So we might need a bit of flexibility.
So like it's an average.
Yeah, something.
Average, whatever it takes.
Something.
I like it.
I could just tell you, in my experience, for the company that I work for that does really embrace remote working where they can, and there's tons of jobs that are not, you can't do remote in banking. You can't be a teller and be remote, right? But I've landed or stolen people from other companies because they've gone from 2 to 3 days. So
I believe
so as if you just look at this environment, like again, if we looked at Clutch under this, they wouldn't have gotten, I don't know how much of their incentive that we just approved, right? So just being flexible with that like we're still in an environment where if that's the rule, people are looking for new jobs.
Well, and that's why I brought it up, because at least once a week, the Sacramento Bee's headline has to do with the objections of all those state workers to having to go back to the office. You know, they love to write about that stuff, so whatever.
And who are the biggest advocates for that? Elected officials that represent downtown Sacramento that say they need to go back to work down there, when, keep in mind, a lot of those people live here and are eating their lunches here, right? The Air District proved that there is more driving going on since COVID with people that are doing remote working, because they're driving all day long, running out to get lunch and pick up their kids and doing all of these other things that they couldn't do because they were stuck in an office downtown or wherever that was. And somebody else had to do it, or the kids had to get on a bus or whatever. So like, there is unique other, I mean, I get the point that like, make them go to the office and you're gonna see them in a parking lot and they're probably gonna buy lunch. But the number of people that, if this continues to go this way with a lot of employers, a lot of people that live here are gonna have to go back and work somewhere else and spend their tax dollars there.
All right. Any public comment on this matter?
We do not have any public comment for this item.
I'd like to move 16.1, the resolution approving the Economic Development Department's Jobs and Talents Traction Program and revision.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Gatewood?
Yep.
Councilmember Terry?
Aye.
Councilmember Budge?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Pulapati has recused herself. Mayor Sander?
Aye.
This motion passes.
That brings us to item 16.2. If you could read that subject, please.
And if I could, just for the record, Councilmember Pulapati recused herself because she had a former relationship with a large company that had at one point expressed interest in this program. So just in an absolute abundance of caution, and ideally without editorializing by council members about that level of caution, she stepped out.
Very good. If you could read the next item, please.
The subject for 16.2, a resolution approving a conditional funding commitment of $6 million to Mercy Housing California for the Mather Veterans Village Phase 4 Affordable Housing Development Project.
All right, Stefan, you are up again.
Good evening, Mayor.
You gonna
City
say
Council.
penultimate?
No, well, part of that.
Well, no, but that was the
penultimate-
last one, then this has to be it.
This is part of the same.
We love you, Steph. You know we think you do great work. So.
Yes.
I will say that Stacy summed up the item very well, so I don't have a presentation for this item. This is more of a formality, just a formal letter assuring the Tax Credit Allocation Committee that the city has allocated the funding to the project. So we'll
It's just spending $6 million. It's no big deal.
Can we acknowledge that Rich Sorello's here from Mercy Housing and stuck with us through the whole night here to hear this item too. So thank you for being here.
So unless there's public comment,
Is there any public comment?
There is no public comment for this item.
There is no public comment.
I will move that we find the environmental document adequate and appropriate, and that we approve the resolution approving the expenditure.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Councilmember Budge?
Yes.
Councilmember Terry?
I'm back.
Aye. Aye.
Vice Mayor Pulapati?
Yes.
Councilmember Gatewood?
Aye.
Mayor Sander?
Aye.
Motion passes.
All right, that brings us to council requests for future agenda items.
Just scratch.
Seeing none, we are going to adjourn to closed session. And after that, we will come back and adjourn the meeting.
Nice. Report out.
Report out and then adjourn the meeting.
Mr. Mayor, council members, I appeal to your sense of conscience to bring the agenda